Okay, let's go. Alright, let's go. Hey, follow the laughter. Hey, follow the laughter. That's right. Follow the laughter. Hey, follow the laughter. That's right. That's right.
From Facebook to YouTube, TikTok to IG, all you see is laughing face emojis, LOLs and ha-ha to see. Subscribe to YouTube, you know we
Follow the laughter. Hey, follow the laughter. That's right. Follow the laughter. Hey, follow the laughter. That's right. Follow the laughter. Hey, follow the laughter. That's right. Follow the laughter. Hey, follow the laughter. That's right. Follow the laughter. Hey, follow the laughter. That's right. Follow the laughter. Hey, follow the laughter. That's right. That's right.
One of my good friends in high school was tall as shit. I mean, even by NBA standards, he was taller than normal.
That's a big boy.
Trevor stood 6'11"
Goddamn.
with a 7-foot wingspan, and everyone called him too tall. Now, before you start envying him for his height, he was super skinny, awkward, and uncoordinated as fuck. So remove NBA dreams from your mind and insert Top Chef Stalker at a grocery store.
When can you start?
But in his defense, it was not due to a lack of trying. He tried out for football, basketball, and even the swim team. All of the coaches had the same reaction when they saw him come to tryouts. They instantly had championship rings and titles dancing in their eyes until they saw him perform. Then they were like, he is just big and useless, size with no skill. We would go to gyms, parks, or friends' houses to play pickup games of basketball. He had the determination and heart. His body just didn't want him to be great though. While trying out for the high school football team, he ended up tearing every ligament in both of his knees. The LCL, MCL, ACL, PCL, TLC. The doctor told him to sit the hell down. The bad part is not that he tore all of the ligaments. The bad part is that once he tore them, his knees were never the same. Those first tears were the gateway tears. Every time he did any athletic movement, he would re-tear them. All you would hear was, "Ah, my knee!" Then he would scream the name of the nearest person to him and start hopping towards his house. Even when we were miles away from his house, he would still hop in the direction of his house like he had a compass of some sort. We were always going somewhere to play basketball. I was around most of the time when he got injured, so my name was yelled a lot during his many knee failures.
Rock down Bama knee.
We would all be playing basketball. He would post up in the paint like a big man should do. I would try not to see him or hear him calling for the ball.
I'm open.
I would pass to someone else, and of course, all the people that never played with him before would pass him the rock. Now he is in the paint, and the clock to disappointment starts ticking. He scores a few times, starts feeling himself, and people keep feeding him in the paint.
I'm open.
Then he makes an athletic move. His knee goes the other way. Then all you hear him yelling is my name. Tony! Come to think of it, I don't know if he was yelling my name or just giving a report that he couldn't feel his toes and his knees was fucked again. It became so bad that everyone started calling him Brittle Sticks due to his paper mache-like knees.
Science project.
Too Tall, aka Brittle Sticks,
Brittle Sticks.
did get a lot of attention though. Just like with coaches of different sports, women in the club would stare at him when we entered.
He tall, girl.
Little did they know that he was a very gentle giant. He was nervous around girls and afraid to talk to them as well.
I just don't know what to say to him.
There was this one girl that he was really into though. She worked at this essential oil store at the mall. This particular day, he was super determined to talk to her. Now, we had been in her store millions of times. We walk into the store and everything plays out like it has every time before. She greets us and waves at Too Tall. He waves back, giving a goofy smile, putting his head down, and we walk through the store. I proceed to convince him to go talk to her because there is only so much pretend shopping you can do before it becomes creepy.
I'll talk to her, man.
Normally, he drops the ball and lets fear overcome him.
Drop the ball again.
He says, "I'll go talk to her next week." And then we would head to the food court. Oh, but not today.
No.
I was not going to let him quit that easy.
No.
Not after how he was so determined earlier. As his friend, it was my duty to help him.
Where you going?
Super wingman style. I told him there is no need to be scared. She is clearly feeling him, and all he had to do is show 5 seconds of courage, and it would be all good from there.
5.
Of course, he was still stalling. I intervened and called her over to ask her a strategic question about some of the oils in the store to slowly segue into breaking the ice between them. She started walking over.
Sure.
Too Tall started physically shaking. Then he lost his mind.
Gotta go.
He turned and ran to the next aisle with his arms waving behind him like an anime character. He was knocking over oils and knickknacks with his 7-foot wingspan as he left the store and made his way to the escalator. An old man came up to me and said, "Your boy is as smooth as a speed bump in an earthquake." What in the modern day country bullshit did he just say to me? Then he walked away proudly like he dropped some knowledge as he disappeared down another aisle.
Yes, I did.
I turned back to the girl in the store that was looking at me for answers, confused as fuck.
What's happened?
I was like, shit, I'm confused too. Even more so now with the vanishing old guy. Then all I heard was, "Not again, Tony!" Followed by a loud series of crashes. Too Tall's knees went out as he ran onto the escalators and he barrel rolled all the way to the bottom. Now on the first floor of the mall, other shoppers gathered around him to see if he was all right. I had to get a security guard to help me pick Too Tall up to place him in a shopping cart so that I could wheel him to my car and drive him to the hospital, his second family and home away from home.
Okay, let's go.
He's too tall, too tall, too tall, too tall, he's too tall, too tall, too tall, Tony, too tall, too tall, too tall. Not again. Too tall, too tall, too tall. Man, what happened? He's too tall, too tall, too tall.
Boy, he big.
Too tall, too tall, too tall.
How's the
Not
weather up
again. He's too tall, too tall, too tall. Man, what happened? Too tall, too tall. He's too tall.
How tall are you?
Too tall, too tall, too tall. Not again. Too tall, too tall, too tall. Man, what happened? He's too tall, too tall. 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 He's too tall, too tall, too tall, too tall. He's too tall.
That's a big bitch.
Too tall, he's too tall,
You play
too
basketball?
tall,
or something?
aka Brittle Sticks. He's too tall, too tall, he's too tall, too tall, too tall, he's too tall, too tall, he's too tall, too tall, he's too tall. He's too tall, too tall, he's too tall, too tall, he's a too tall, too tall, too tall, too tall, too tall, too tall, he's too tall.